4th of November, and daylight savings time, first day of daylight savings time going into effect. And it's been raining down here for 24 hours, and we're going to go out. It's going to have some more rain coming, 90% tomorrow. I'm going to do some bass scouting and see if there's any new rubs and new scrapes opened up. And if there are, then I'll try to get a stand put in them areas, because you got to keep moving with your deer. You can't take it for granted that what you did last year or a year before is going to be the same old, same old. So the hunting part, the fun part, is doing what we're going to do today. So I'm going to get at it before it starts raining again. Well, here we go down the trail, looking for fresh sign. Always nice to go right after a rain, right before a rain, and the rut is definitely being, as everybody's anticipating, it's time to be in the field. There's a little scrape that's been going on. Busted twig. It's not cleaned out too much, but we'll go on down here. There's Deb out enjoying a beautiful day as we venture down through here, looking for new rubs and just taking in. Like I said, it's supposed to rain real hard again tomorrow, so just gives you a better feel for what's going on. Here's what we're looking for. That just got here since last week, and that's a good rub. Yeah, that is a good rub. And see, they rubbed that tree last year also. You can see. And here's what they're doing. Here's the trail. Here's the trail going back up into the area. And it's also got, they've been nibbling on this branch right here. And then they go down and they cross the creek right there. And you can see that heavily tore up trail right there. And then they go on out up that hill. So I may be critiquing my tree stand. But anyhow, I got that rub right there. And I set this new stand up, but I might have to move it because I want to step that off. And this is a good day to be doing this, because we got our stand over here, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32 yards. And you remember that? That's where we put the oak leaves branches up, and you see the leaves are still on there. Now they'll stay on there because they dried on there. Now you can see the contrast with that over the back, how that does the backdrop on you. That's beautiful how that did that. But we're 32 yards from that trail. Now they have had some scraping activity going on here. And this was one of those deals where I hung a grapevine or just a vine out of a tree. And I can see where they've been actively tearing up the scrape off of that. Well, as you can see, this scrape area right here traditionally is torn up big time. But it has very little usage to my eyesight, and that's why I'm doing this today. You got to keep monitoring your areas, because like I said, what you were in the past doesn't mean that is going to be present. They have some little look like activity there, but not as much as in the past. And as you can see, they've opened up a new scrape just south of that old one. And that's why I'm out here today doing this observation, other than just taking for granted what was. And they've even came down here on this little overhanging one here and have pawed this out and got your overhanging branch. So they change a lot. Now here's a tree that's been rubbed several years and hasn't been touched this year. So, I mean, that's what we're looking for today. Here's one that's being used. You can see the footprint in there. So they're being used. Well, these rubs here have been pretty aggressive, and these were in the last video, last Friday night when Deb was taking. Boy, they really got after those two pine or cedar trees, and right here's the water. So that's pretty nice to see that. There's a cluster of little rubs right in here. Well, we'll keep scouting. Here we got on up here on top, and there's a small rub, nothing humongous, but it just doesn't seem like the rubbing is what it was last year. Now, that's getting a whole lot more interesting there. Starting to find rubs like that. That's what I'm doing out here scouting right now. And this is the fun part to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting out in your woods, not up just posting up. And I know some people physically handicapped, that's all they can do. But as long as I can walk and read deer sign and see fresh scrapes and rubs, I'm going to traverse out here in the woods and try to keep tabs on it, because there's nothing more exciting to me about, I guess, finding a shed is exciting, but finding these rubs leg size is really neat also. I'm traveling up a main corridor right here, and it's been several bucks apparently have traversed up through here. An old traditional rub that got hit a little bit. At least you know you still got activity on your travel corridors when you're finding that stuff like that. And don't be paranoid that you're going to spook the buck out of the woods and on and on and on. Once these bucks get high on testosterone, no one knows where they're going to be. At least you know you're in an area where it's conducive that they will travel. And now we're up here on the winter forage, and these beets and greens did pretty good with all that rain. Just the first time I've been up here, and they've done all right. And now just showing you the diversity of weedless food plots. You got your beans that did really good, and like I say, it's not a necessity for me to hunt over food plots, but it sure is fun doing them. And then here it is. You can see the results. You can really see the results down here. This is interesting. I'm going to highlight this a little bit. This is where we went in with the forage oats, and I just broadcasted them on when the beans were still growing late in the season, and they filled it down through there, and they filled those rows in. And I'll do this more often now, because all you have to do is you step over here. You can see where I didn't broadcast the oats at, and there's basically nothing growing on that dirt, which you could have had ground cover, plus you would have had a food source of forage oats. So that's just something I thought I'd pass along on this scouting trip, because this really shows the contrast of nothing growing here in the row, and as you venture down here a few yards, the forage oats, it was just a matter of walking through and throwing them on. I was going to put forage oats on the rest of those beans, but what happened was the temperature turned cold, and we had the moisture, but the germination, just we didn't have the temperature. Ground temperature went south on us really fast. So, but I'm going to try to stay on that in the future. Let's walk over here and see this little micro plot, as I'd call it. when I pulled the weeds out and see what become of it through my efforts. And this was all done by hand also, so it's a testimonial of what can be done. Well, there you go. There was that little micro plot that we came in here and did. And it's a food source. And I'll tell you what, hey, it did real well. And you can see the corn, the predation on the corn, that's what it's there for. And there's been a lot of foraging in here. You can see the cobs on the ground already. So hopefully it'll carry through to late winter for a food source for all wildlife. But this was a pretty neat scouting trip to show you the efforts of that no plow situation. Not hardly a weed in it at all, and it really grew in real good with the no plow product right out in the middle of nowhere. Here was a pretty good active scrape right out here in the middle of this field. Got your overhanging branch and your scrape there going on. Looks like a little scraping activity. Pretty good foot mark in there, hoof print. There again, you got your overhanging limb here. But no big rubs up in there. Winter grains really did well. They plenty of late season food source, not just for killing, but for nutrition. It's growing real well in here. And it's been hit by a couple good frosts, so it's ready to rock and roll. Here is the alpha rack field, and it did real well. And it's been grazed on quite a bit. That alfalfa has been, what you're seeing sticking up is a lot of chicory, and the alfalfa has been really hit hard. And that's what it's there for. So we did our job. November 4th. And here's a new scrape that opened up right on the edge of this alpha rack. You can see the overhanging limb and the disturbance there going on in the ground. So I would say they've really ate that alfalfa down a bunch. Some of you probably think I'm crazy walking through your hunting grounds, but you know, I'm a realist, and I know you're going to shoot your deer when you're going to shoot your deer. And that paranoia that's on Facebook and in the white-tailed deer hunting woods right now is just all uncalled for. You're supposed to enjoy the woods at this time of the year, not be afraid to go for a walk in it. Always carried a few deer off there. They go in the background back there. But, you know, they'll be back. There's our clover field, the old clover field, from another perspective. You know, a viewpoint on the property. You can tell it's bright green down there. There's a scrape there that was found last year, and it's got some fresh paw in it this morning, but they'll be freshening them up. First sunny day will be, I believe, Tuesday, and we'll definitely be on stand somewhere in Iowa. Oh, we got an active scrape going here on this deer trail. That's good to know. I got a stand about 25 yards from here. So it's nice to know that that activity is going on. Once again, an old rub on this trail, but nobody seemed to attended it this year so far. There's been some activity there on that little brush right there. They've nipped it off or broke it off. Our main corridor trail going up through here. Well, there's a scrape there off that little sapling there. And I can see a rub back in the bush there. I don't know. There it is. Oh, a little bit of activity. That was a nice rub right there. Oh man. So there are a few nice rubs. And that's another nice thing about it. You guys got cedar trees, you trim them up a little bit, then deer will rub on them real good because they can get up against them. But with the limbs on them, they have a hard time. Like, that's a nice size rub fresh too. Okay, here's what I was looking for. They really been working this one down here at this Ellis's restaurant. We hung that stand a week ago tomorrow, and as you can see, that's been freshly tore up. So that's the best sign we found all day. Now we're getting into some rubs. That's what I want to see. That'll get you out of bed in the morning. This is what I call hunting. I know some of you are probably laughing your asses off right now, like, what's that fool doing out in the woods? He should be in the stand. Well, you're better off to be in the woods, confirming the travel pattern from year to year than just relying on what you did the year before. So, and it's a perfect day to be doing this with rain coming here in any minute. So, I mean, you make this intrusion, you're in, you're out, and you learn something, and you're far better off. This is what I call quick scouting. You ain't lingering around. You're trying to just get right through here. Don't dilly-dally. See what you can see and confirm it. And that way when you go to the stand that you've set up prior, you'll have a whole lot better mindset. And what a beautiful day to do this on. I like it when the sun ain't shining, because when the sun's shining you won't see nothing in here. These are big timbers, and when you're in here, anything and nothing can happen. But you gotta, these are where I make my all day sits at, because when that doe comes into heat, who knows what's going to be running around in there. And as far as wind direction, that basically goes out the window, because they're in front of you, they're behind you, they're all over the place. So, but at least you know there's some big deer in here. Big deer make big sound, and that's encouraging. There's one of my stands set up there. That's an all-day stand. See the three big trees? Breaks up your silhouette. And when you get in here, you're in here from half hour before daylight to half hour after dark. Well, that's going to put a wrap on it on the 4th. It's starting to rain a little bit again. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, and it's getting along there. Like I say, this is the first day of the clock turning back to standard daylight time instead of daylight savings. So I was a little dismayed about the buck sign that I seen, but everything else was pretty pleasant to pass along. So that's it. Next time it'll be from the tree stand, but don't be afraid to do a little in-season scouting. Yeah, that way it'll keep your spirits up, and you'll, be more eager to go. And number one thing about deer hunting, especially with the bow and arrow today, keep it fun. Don't get full of yourself. Let the bucks get full of testosterone. Keep yours checked. That's it from the non-typical.